are back live at the T-Mobile Arena, and let's take a quick look at the arrival of the two fighters in the main event. First, it was Canelo Alvarez arriving, as you see, at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time. There's a response going on here in the arena from those fans who are already in their seats as they look at video on the screen above them of Canelo Alvarez arriving with his co-trainer, Eddie Reynoso. Checo Reynoso directly behind Canelo Alvarez as he enters for his 53rd professional prize fight in a career that actually began 6 months prior to the beginning of the career of Gennady Golovkin, who is 8 years older than Canelo is. And then here is the arrival of Gennady Golovkin. This took place 20 minutes later. They'll actually make it 18 minutes later. And once again, there's a response going on here in the arena as fans look at Triple G on the big screen. Unlike Canelo, he flashes a smile as he enters the arena and trades a fist bump with somebody along the way. And there's an aerial shot of T-Mobile where this pay-per-view is about to get interesting if you are a really serious boxing fan, because we're going to stretch out with analysis and discussion, starting, Roy Jones, with the next fighter you're going to see on the undercard, 21-year-old Jaime Munguia of Tijuana, who has had maybe the most visibly active year of any top fighter in boxing. And I say top fighter, although he did not begin the year as a recognized top fighter. He now holds a 154-pound title that he seized from Saddam Ali in his last fight against Liam Smith. He had a very interesting display of both good and bad, and now tonight he goes in against an opponent from Canada, Brandon Cook, who seems to have been chosen for his toughness. But Munguia at 154 pounds is a fighter who projects eventually to be in that 160-pound weight class, another middleweight to go along with Lemieux and Triple G and Canelo. What do you think of Jaime Munguia so far based on what you've seen?
Well, I think he's a very fascinating character, Jim. He has a lot of upside. He already comes into the ring after he weighs in as a junior middleweight at the light heavyweight limit, sometime even the cruiserweight limit. So this guy has so many weight classes that he can fulfill. He can fight Triple G. He can fight Lemieux. He can fight anybody. He can fight the light heavyweights of the world. He has unlimited potential. He's only 21 years old. He's already a world champion at 21, much like we saw people like Canelo progress. They came on the scene early. Now look what Canelo is. This kid, I think, is headed for the same type of branding, same type of superstardom that Canelo is, if he can keep it together over these next, say, 13 months.
He's going to be in the ring in 18 minutes, and you look at Munguia there as he stretches and prepares to come into the ring. One of the similarities to Canelo Alvarez, Max Kellerman, other than national origin, is that like Canelo, who turned pro at 15, Jaime Munguia turned pro at 16, and that's how it is that he's 21 years old, but already with 30 professional fights. And what I see in that is a maturity and a composure that you don't often see in a fighter at this age.
You have to keep in mind he's 21, that's right. And if he were like a draft pick in another sport, you'd say high floor, high ceiling. Many watching him would say, no, his defense, he's too wide open. He'll lose to any of the top fighters. I don't know if I ever see him getting to be a pound-for-pound fighter, but he's a great action TV fighter. My point is he's already a great action TV fighter. He's already a guy where when you match him with fighters in his own weight class, because he ain't really a junior middleweight, folks, he's a big monster of a junior middleweight. Already he has this size advantage. He'll exploit it. He has punching power. He has a lot of heart. He fights with charisma. And so already that's the case. He's great on TV. The question is, what's his upside? Can he, in fact, develop into the fighter that Robert Alcazar thinks he can be, with better footwork and better defense? Can he actually develop into a prime-time, pound-for-pound kind of fighter? The thing about boxing, and the reason I say high floor, high upside, high ceiling, is because ultimately it almost doesn't matter if you are successful in terms of wins and losses at the highest level. If you're the kind of attraction that can make big events, you sort of already won. And Munguia, it looks to me, has a good chance to be the kind of attraction and action fighter who can make big events against other top fighters.
And in a moment, we're going to show the audience some of the content from a feature piece that we put together for Munguia on my show, The Fight Game. Took him to the Del Mar racetrack in Southern California. But just to identify one thing that Max Kellerman talked about, he mentioned Robert Alcazar. Robert Alcazar is the former trainer of Oscar De La Hoya. He was De La Hoya's trainer through much of his professional career and at the end of his amateur career. And he's been away from professional boxing for quite some time. But he's been installed by Golden Boy as the trainer for Munguia. And this is obviously an effort to take a trainer with a previous world-class background and replace Munguia's father with somebody who might be able to take him to a higher level and smooth out those rough edges that both Roy Jones and Max Kellerman have told you about. That'll be part of the narrative as Munguia's career continues. Exactly what kind of a job can Alcazar do with him? And as the fight progresses, we might talk about some of the technical elements that you already see in Munguia's game that are the direct product of being trained by Robert Alcazar. But first, let's take a look at some of the content from the Fight Game feature on Jaime Munguia. When the fight with Saddam Ali was set up, did you know at the weigh-in that you were too big and too strong and too good for Saddam Ali?
Pues yo sabía que era un peleador más grande, con más pegada, mucho más fuerte, pero lo único que yo le veía a Saddam Ali era que era muy escurridizo, era muy difícil para agarrarlo, pero pues gracias a Dios pudimos agarrarlo desde el primer round.
Down goes Ali on a left hook by Munguia. You hurt him badly 20 seconds into the fight. At that moment, did your heart jump with excitement? Did you feel a surge of confidence that you were going to put him away?
Sí, claro que sí. Desde que yo lo toqué, desde que lo tumbé, supe que tenía la oportunidad. Solo que pensé las cosas, pude haberlo terminado desde el primer round, pero traté de ser más cuidadoso.
This is just a matter of time.
Sabía que pues es muy peligroso. En esto un golpe puede cambiar pues toda la noche, entonces traté de hacerlo más lento y creo que me funcionó bien.
That's got to be the end of the fight, and referee Gary Rosado waves his arms emphatically.
He's a name fighter now.
So then came the opportunity to fight Liam Smith. He landed several counter right hands early in the fight.
Smith is exposing Munguia's defense.
Did you realize that you were overreaching and creating opportunities for him?
Sí, claro que me empecé a aventar, empecé a abrir mucho los golpes. Creo que esa fue una de las cosas más malas que hicimos, desesperarnos.
Jaime Munguia is beginning to find his footing after early difficulties. Left hook knocks Smith down.
Ahora estoy tratando de corregir que no vuelva a pasarme eso en una pelea. Back live at ringside, Roy Jones, you train and manage and promote young fighters. You watch their development very closely and intensely. How good was what he did against Ali, and how bad was what we saw in the early going against Smith?
Well, what he did against Ali was really, really good, mainly because of the weight, the size advantage he had. Ali was in at a very big deficit on weight. Munguia is a big puncher, and he showed what a big puncher does when he fights a smaller guy. However, when he came back and fought Liam Smith, he didn't have the respect for Liam Smith that he had for Ali, meaning that he thought he could walk through Liam Smith. He knew Liam Smith wasn't elusive, which he thought Ali was going to be very elusive for him. So he thought he was going to work to find Ali. He knew he didn't have to work to find Liam Smith. He just had to deal with the power, which for him, Liam Smith is not a big puncher because Liam Smith is a junior middleweight. He came in as a light heavyweight. So when you see a fight like that, you try to criticize him for taking too many punches, yes, but there's a method behind his madness. He's taking those punches because he doesn't feel threatened by them. When they don't feel threatened, when you feel like a little guy's hitting you, sometimes we tend to let the defense lax, and that's all he did.
If you were the manager or the promoter of Jaime Munguia, what would you tell Alcazar you most wanted to see him work on in training?
What I want to see him work on is his feet, having tighter feet, and trying to speed him up just a little bit. He has a very good Mexican style, but you want to have some acceleration, some explosiveness on some of those punches. He throws everything at pretty much the same speed right now. You want to see a variation of speeds. It's like Julio Cesar Chavez had everything pretty much the same speed, but when Julio Cesar Chavez knew something was going to land, he turned it up. That's what Munguia has to learn.
All right, before I go back to Max Kellerman, let me talk to the truck for a second. I know that we have other highlights here which we can show. Do we want to show right now more Munguia Ali, or do we want to show Munguia against Liam Smith? Okay, so we'll start with the title opportunity that he got in May. It was May 12, 1 week after Gennady Golovkin's appearance against Vanes Motorosyan May 5. And this is what he did against Saddam Ali.
And Saddam Ali's really a welterweight fighting at junior middle, and Munguia is really a middleweight fighting at junior middle. There really is a huge size difference. And throughout boxing history, guys, when you have a big puncher who's raw defensively, and this goes from Rocky Graziano to Jeff Lacey, the way you build them is against good fighters against whom they have a size advantage, because when their defense is exploited, and hopefully they're learning from the experience, they're not being hit by a guy their own size. Meantime, their power, which is already extraordinary, is amplified by the weight disparity. So he's been matched against smaller guys so far smartly. Keep in mind, he's 21 years old.
What I want to say right here too, Jim, is in this last left hook that we see him land against Saddam Ali, here's where you see his boxing. Boom, and steps around to the left. No way Ali could have hit him after that punch had he even missed the shot. That shows you that the kid is technically very sound.
All right, so in the weeks following that, there was a lot of hoopla, a lot of discussion about how good he can be, and he came back very fast against Liam Smith in Las Vegas on July 21. Let's take a look back at what happened against Smith. And in the early going, Roy, he was embarrassed by Smith's counterpunching, and particularly his ability to target straight right hands.
Yeah, because he didn't expect that Smith was going to come out and go at him like Smith did. Smith has a big heart. Smith didn't come out to lay down. Smith was trying to win. Smith just wasn't as powerful as we thought he would be or wanted to see him be. And then his people, like Max said, they knew that Liam Smith didn't have the power to become a threat to Munguia.
And hopefully it therefore becomes a learning experience, because you can go back and use this as a blueprint of the things he has to work on without exposing him to the danger of an actual loss. Smith's a little naturally bigger guy than Saddam Ali, better whiskers, gave him more rounds, but doesn't have the same kind of explosive offense as Saddam Ali. So at this stage in a guy's career who has upside like Munguia, you must select the opponents carefully, and so far they have.
And one more element of Jaime Munguia, we did not see the extended part of the feature piece that aired on Fight Game, but toward the end I talked to him about the notion that boxing is losing young audience to MMA, and the question of whether he, as a 21-year-old star, felt as though he could help to reverse that tide and bring young fans back to boxing. And he said, yes, I can. Yes, I will. I want a global audience. Is it too early for him to have that kind of ambition?
No, and I don't think that MMA has taken young audience away from boxing. I think MMA has exposed a young audience that boxing has failed to capture in recent years to combat sports. And fighters like Munguia, with the inclination, instead of thinking, well, MMA has taken the audience away, the mentality is, oh, a whole new generation of fans is now interested in combat sports. Well, if you like guys fighting, maybe you'll like boxing. Let me show you what I can do. And Munguia is just the kind of guy to get people interested, because all of his fights will be exciting from bell to bell.
He'll be in the ring in about 8 minutes. Meanwhile, I know that while we were dealing with other business here, you went to Canelo Alvarez's dressing room and have already spoken with him. What was the atmosphere in his dressing room? What did it tell you?
I got to tell you, when we met with him yesterday, he was so calm. Then he flips out at the weigh-in, but they're back to being calm again. There are so many questions heading into this fight, and to me, there are no clear answers. And the greatest thing about boxing is, ding, ding, round one, you start to get all the questions answered. It ain't a metaphor for something. No one's going to be moving the ball this way or that way. They're going to be literally trying to impose their wills on each other, and we will find out whether Canelo's really cool and calm, or whether Abel Sanchez and Triple G have lit a fire under him, and whether that means he's going to slug more or box more. I mean, there are even more questions in the last hour than there were an hour ago, and there were plenty then.
Let's take a look at your conversation with him just moments ago.
Canelo, when we spoke to you yesterday, you were as calm as could be in your room, ignoring all the insults from the other side, cool about it. 2 hours later, at the weigh-in, you're flipping out. What happened?
No, es ahí cuando los tengo enfrente, ¿no? No dije ni una sola palabra, solamente accioné. Creo que es una reacción de mi parte y es lo mismo que voy a hacer esta noche. Creo que siempre las palabras salen sobrando, los hechos hablan más que mil palabras.
It's just a matter of fact that I had him there in front of me. I didn't say a word, but I had to act. And as a matter of fact, words don't mean anything. When you make the effort, when you put the effort, your actions show what you mean. And so that's what happened. And tonight, that's how I'll talk tonight.
That's what you were telling us yesterday. But then given the fact that you did behave that way, even though you're saying their words don't affect your game plan, you also told us you were training for a knockout from the beginning. How do you square those things? How do you reconcile those ideas?
No, como lo dije, tengo estas ganas de noquearlo, este coraje hacia ellos. Lo voy a utilizar inteligentemente, pero por inercia está ahí el coraje, ¿no? Y se va a ver en la pelea. Y creo que estamos a unas horas de verlo.
As I said, I'm going to look for the knockout, and basically I have that anger within me, and I have that inertia of that anger, and we're just a few hours away from seeing it.
Isn't that dangerous against a dangerous puncher, an aggressive fighter like Triple G, who would like to lure you into that kind of fight?
Así es. El boxeo es de riesgos. Hay que tomar riesgos para tener una diferencia en la pelea y es lo que voy a hacer. Voy a tomar riesgos para lograr lo que quiero.
Boxing is about taking risks and making a difference, and that's what makes a difference. And I'm going to take those risks because I want to obtain what I really want.
And that's why we can't wait for the opening bell. Thank you, champ.
All right, Roy Jones, the first thing Max talked to him about was what happened at the weigh-in yesterday. The whole country is talking about what happened at the weigh-in yesterday. So before you comment on it, let's take another look at what happened yesterday at the weigh-in. Canelo Alvarez entering onto the stage. Gennady Golovkin already there and waiting. That's the very typical Golovkin grin. Golovkin weighing in at 159.6. Canelo weighing in at 159.2 or 159.4. Very little difference between them. And then the sudden confrontation.
HBO pay-per-view live from T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada tomorrow.
Kind of a Jets and Sharks moment if you're old enough to go back to West Side Story, and ultimately, you know, as they say in the business, cooler heads prevailed. What do you make of that?
Well, they say cooler heads prevail, but here's the thing, Jim. The cooler head is also the smarter head. Sometimes Ali did a lot of talking like he wasn't the cooler head, but he was the cooler head. To me, in that video, Canelo was the cooler head. He's just playing games because he knows he's the cooler head. So when he came out and went right up to Triple G, he's letting Triple G know that all the stuff you have said, all the talk you and Abel are doing, that has nothing to do with nothing. I'm here now, and tomorrow night, you guys have to deal with me. Nothing else, nobody else, all that talk, all the computer, all that's out the window. Now you guys have to deal with me. That's what I saw in the video.
Max, do you agree with that?
I don't know. You know, it's there are, as I said, a lot of questions in the fight, right? Had Canelo been throughout his career the kind of guy who's forcing confrontations at press conferences, that he's doing his thing. But we know Triple G ain't gonna get punked. There's no punk in Triple G. They just fought 12, hellacious rounds a year ago. Does Canelo think he's gonna take his heart? I don't think so. So since Canelo has never behaved that way, and he knows Triple G is the same way all the time, why behave that way unless you're betraying some kind of insecurity? But Roy may be right. Roy has been through this process many, many times. I have not. It's just another question in a fight where the questions are piled on questions. We're coming off one of the fights of the year last year in one of those rare pay-per-view extravaganzas that delivered on its promise. And tonight, if anything, I think there's more promise for this fight.
All right, a popular question on the web is there a physical difference between Canelo this year and Canelo 364 days ago? So the picture on the left is Canelo Alvarez, September 15, 2017. And the picture on the right is Canelo Alvarez, September 14, 2018. You can look at those two bodies. Personally, I don't see a big difference. Roy, you see any difference?
Well, the only difference I see is the guy on the left, who they say was whatever they say he was doing, is a little bit brighter, and he looks a little bit more angry or serious than he does on the right side.
I mean, yeah, maybe clenbuterol is a sunblocker or something because he needs a tan on the left. But guys, look, those two are identical. It's the same guy. The question is, if in clenbuterol, the issue is it's a masking agent. Maybe he's juicing with other stuff, right? Like, that's the idea. Those two guys, left and right, had the same physique. You know a difference when you see it. If anything, if you're forced to choose, hey, this guy was juicing in one picture, which one do you think it was? You'd say the one from yesterday. If anything, he looks a little beefier, but it's the same physique, same cuts, same everything.
Last question in this particular segment. Jaime Munguia is about to enter the ring. Both Canelo and Golovkin have television monitors in their dressing rooms. Is it too early for them to be interested in getting a glimpse at the 21-year-old Mexican fighter?
No, it is not. And to tell you more about that, Jim, Canelo told you that tonight will mark the second half of his career, meaning that he's already seeing people like Munguia as being the next Triple G big-time payday for him down the line. So I can guarantee you he is definitely paying attention to what Jaime Munguia does tonight.
You agree with that, Max?
Yes. I found it really interesting, exactly what Roy said, when Canelo said, because I asked him yesterday, is that, you know, when you survey the landscape, is this going to be the biggest fight of your career while you're in your prime? Floyd, he fought in you know, who's a bigger name fighter than anyone, but it was pre-prime. And he's had other big fights like that. But this rematch, the intrigue, the build-up, the first fight, and the way Canelo put it is it's a pivotal moment in his career. Because in his view, it marks the beginning of the second half. In other words, whatever happened is the first half of his career till now, and now comes the second chapter, or the second half. And I agree with him. After tonight, and it depends on what happens tonight. Does he get knocked out? Is he humiliated? Does he score the incredible knockout against Triple G? Is it another closely contested fight that results in a third fight? We don't know, but we do know that it begins the second part of Canelo Alvarez's career.
And there's a whole other discussion relative to the timetable for Gennady Golovkin and where exactly he is in his career, and it is not seen as being the same thing. But meanwhile, let's get ready for Jaime Munguia and Brandon Cook. We take a look at the tail. It takes place in the 154-pound junior middleweight weight class. You see the 11-year age advantage, if advantage it is, for young Munguia. He's 3 inches taller. Their arm lengths measure out equally from the armpit to the end of the fist. Munguia 0.8 of a pound heavier on the scale at exactly the 154-pound limit. As Roy Jones suggests, technically he enters the ring as a cruiserweight at 175.5, while Cook enters the ring as a light heavyweight at 168.6. And you saw what a weight advantage can mean in the last fight, in which David Lemieux anesthetized Spike O'Sullivan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go with our co-main event tonight. 12 rounds WBO Junior Middleweight World Championship. Making his way to the ring first, the challenger from Ajax, Ontario, Canada, Brandon Cook.
Very aware that most of the big-name boxers American fight fans have seen in the past few years from Canada have come from Montreal or the Montreal era. Case in point, David Lemieux of Montreal, whom you just saw scoring a big knockout. Toronto, not nearly as recognized a boxing hotbed as Montreal, and Cook says, yeah, I want to put Toronto on the map tomorrow night. I want to demonstrate that we too have boxing in Toronto, even though we're well aware that the culture there has not been as active or as meaningful yet as in Montreal.
And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, presentando el invicto de Tijuana, Baja California, México, Jaime Munguia.
21 years old, his father was a journeyman heavyweight who got him started in boxing. He says he has known since his early childhood years that this was what he would want to do. As we mentioned, turned pro at 16. He wanted to go to the Olympics, but the timetable for being an amateur member of the Mexican Olympic team did not jive with his age group. He figured it was not the right thing for him to do. It was better for him to go ahead and turn professional, and he did. And some of the benefits of that have already been seen.
The Liam Smith fight, in certain respects, was great for him, Jim, because suddenly after that fight, every fighter in the world was clamoring to fight Munguia because he looked vulnerable. Also, it's understandable if they slow down the pace of the kind of world-class fighters he's fighting, because he did look vulnerable and he is so young, even though he holds a belt. And tonight, I think, is the manifestation of, or the outcome of the way he looked the last time out.
This is his 5th fight this year, and he wants to fight one more time before the year is over. And that kind of activity is regarded as a very good idea for a developing fighter like Munguia. Let's go to Joe Martinez for the official introductions.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, from T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, we are set to go. Our co-main event of the evening, 12 rounds is scheduled for the WBO Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Promoted by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and Zanford Promotions, and presented by Tecate, the official beer of boxing. Sponsored by Hennessy, never stop, never settle. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Fred Loya Insurance, put Fred in your corner. And Venom the movie, starring Tom Hardy, in theaters worldwide October 5th. And Como Quieres Viajar, fly your way to Mexico with Interjet Airlines and Capital Holdings. Sanctioned by the WBO supervisor inside the ring, Paco Barcarcel. Your 3 judges scoring this bout at ringside: Bert Clements, Julie Letterman, and John McKay. And when the action begins inside the ring, referee in charge, Tony Wiggs. And now introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, the challenger wearing blue with black trim. He weighed in officially 153 1/4 pounds, and in 21 professional bouts has an outstanding record of 20 victories, 1 defeat, 13 big wins, coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of it, representing Ajax, Ontario, Canada, here is Brendan Bad Boy Cook. And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the colors of Mexico, green, white, and red. He weighed in officially 154 pounds even, and as a young professional, holds a record of 30 victories, no defeats, 25 big wins, coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the reigning, defending, undefeated WBO Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, de Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. Here is Jaime Munguia.
Okay, gentlemen, caballeros, you already see your instructions. Usted recibió instrucciones. Okay, right here is good. Aquí está bien. Aquí no. Right here is good. Aquí está bien. Aquí no. Keep everything above the waist. De la cintura para arriba. I want a good, clean fight. Ya quiero una pelea limpia. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect us at all times. Escúchame. Cuídate. Ready? Listos? Let's go.
The middleweight title fight everyone's waiting for in the main event tonight between the 2 biggest names in 160 pounds. And in the aftermath of this fight, and maybe the next one if they have another one, They're going to be looking for opponents with whom to make an enormous event. And Munguia, Jaime Munguia, is seen as a potential opponent against whom you can make an enormous event. Can he leave people buzzing after tonight?
Pressure for the young man fighting here in Las Vegas, where the Nevada State Athletic Commission earlier this year began helping to build his name unintentionally by ruling him out as a potential opponent for Gennady Golovkin on May 5. There was talk of putting him in with Golovkin when Golovkin was looking for someone else to fight after the fight with Canelo fell through on May 5. And the Nevada State Athletic Commission said, no, you can't possibly put him in against Golovkin. We won't sanction that bout. He's too inexperienced. And by the way, Roy Jones, you and I agreed on the air that that was the right thing to do, particularly because he's never yet weighed in as a middleweight.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do because he hasn't weighed in as a middleweight. We saw what happened when Canelo went in against Floyd too early. He got taught a boxing lesson. But if it had to happen later, 4 years later in his career, it could have been a really competitive fight. However, Munguia is one of those guys who already is way ahead of, I think, where Canelo was at that time, but he didn't need that big fight at that early or that point of his career.
But you know what it shows, as it showed with Canelo, who took the Floyd fight, Munguia wanting to fight Triple G, is these guys have the attitude that they're not scared. The fighter themselves, whatever the promoter or the manager says, the fighter wants to fight everyone and anyone, and that's a very good sign.
Here with a left hook to the body that is a little bit below the belt line. Tony Weeks immediately moves in and says keep him up, but the punch did damage, and that's what Munguia was looking for. Brandon Cook swinging over the top of the right hand. He's a little bit like Munguia in the sense that he'll swing wild from time to time.
He's trying to fight responsibly, hands high, elbows tucked. Weight on the back foot at times, trying to stay away from Munguia's power.
Now there was the targeted left hook to the body, and you know, as much attention as is paid to the big landing punches upstairs, Roy, I think his left hook to the body is his most impressive weapon.
One of his most dangerous weapons he has, Jim, because he's big and he pounds to the body when he throws. So he doesn't throw nothing lightly. He doesn't tap to the body. He bangs to the body, and that's what you want to see out of a guy who comes in the ring as a cruiserweight.
Yeah, I think Cook is also being smart at times, trying to drive Munguia back and get inside. But the belief, the reason he's in there with Munguia is the belief is at some point when Munguia hits him, he's going to go.
Yeah, and he just hit him with a right hand, and he's caught him with a couple of clean body shots in this round. And Cook already looks as though he's trying to find geography, places where he can get away in the ring.
Don't do that.
As Munguia lands one to the back of the head. So he's in danger of getting penalized for a foul, but Cook is in danger of getting hurt. Another tremendous body shot, a hard right hand, a series of hard blows. Cook makes it out of the round.
How you feel? You okay? Yeah, good. No piece? Very good. Nice and relaxed, okay? Nice and relaxed. Nice and relaxed. First round's over, baby. Okay? You good? Yeah. Good, man. Yeah, he did. So next time I want you to take some time if he gives it to you, okay? Yeah. Take some water. I need you to use your jab more, okay? Yeah. He's dangerous if he can get you on the ropes, so you got to stay off the ropes, okay? Yeah. Okay, use the jab and the feints from the outside, okay? Water. Okay. Use that jab on the outside to set up the punches. Use the feints. When you get in close, go to the body. Keep that other hand up.
You see Munguia coming in on the attack. Man, got a beautiful straight right hand. Doesn't get better than that, Jim. And I got to say, Cook showed an awesome chin there because he took some really big shots from a cruiserweight in 10-ounce rival gloves.
Round two begins. Calm instructions, carefully delivered by Michael Gayette in the corner of Brandon Cook. Total landed in the first round, you see 21 for Munguia and 6 for Cook. So let's see if Cook can get relaxed and generate a little bit more offense to try to keep Munguia occupied. That's part of the challenge. There he goes, firing to the body.
Cook believes in the power in his right hand. Thinks if he hits anyone with it, he can get him to go.
Oh, here we go.
And he's not afraid to fight, Max.
No.
That's why he started boxing, because, oh, good uppercut.
Uppercut by Munguia, backs Cook off.
The issue is if you don't have a deep amateur background, in exchanges, the guy with the better muscle memory tends to land his shots, and with Munguia, that can spell the end of the night immediately.
But Cook is showing a really good chin here. He's taking some really big shots already, and he's not had any bad reactions yet. Haven't seen his legs go weak or nothing.
And I think Munguia realizes he has to be careful. He's in danger of getting penalized for rabbit punches here because Cook is turning his head or ducking sometimes and presenting the back of the skull to Munguia at moments when Munguia has already started the arc of the punch. So he has to be careful not to foul him, even as he bats him around the ring as he's doing right now.
And you see Munguia showing much more responsibility as a defender tonight than he did in the fight against Liam Smith. So he's showing you that he's progressing with every fight. He hasn't given up any big shots yet. He's very small in his body attack. He's doing some really good boxing tonight, showing much improvement from the last time we saw him.
Although Smith a better technical fighter.
Yeah, Smith a better technical fighter, Max, but he still can do the same foolishness that he was doing. He could do that against this kid. This kid may be a bigger puncher, but he's not doing that.
I mean, the story of this fight so far, and by the way, Cook just missed a right hand that might have been trouble. Munguia's the left hook to the body, the right hand from distance upstairs.
Yeah, I agree, especially the left hook to the body. He throws that punch with resounding power.
I got to tell you, I don't like how quick, if you're in Munguia's camp, you're not going to like how close that Cook right hand is. A short right hand he keeps throwing on the inside, and it just missed twice.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it, Max, that's what I'm saying. His defense is a little bit better tonight because we saw Liam Smith landing that.
He would have clocked him with
yes.
And part of that, I'm sure, is you know who you're in with. You know who can crack and who you can afford to take some shots from.
Stop. Munguia up after the left hook to the body. That's a pretty good idea.
Seeing Munguia poke a body shot on the break then, something that a real veteran has to know how to do. A normal young guy don't know how to do that, but Munguia just did it. Shows you that he's very, very experienced.
Cook going to have to find a way to dodge that right hand.
Yeah, it's impressive because Munguia's landing it from distance.
This is quite an assault. Cook is showing some chin in the early going.
Good right hand to the body by Cook to end the round.
Everything's good. Just keep working. Everything's good.
Jaime, jabs primero.
Rocked him there. Jabs first, Jaime. Jabs first. And your distance and your range. 1-2 on the uppercut, okay? He's leaning in. When you take it to the ropes, switch it up. Switch the hook for the inside. Don't throw it to the back. Throw it to the inside, to the belly, in the middle. All right, keep working, just like you're doing now.
Back straight up. Okay, you feel me? When he gets you to the ropes, he's teeing off on you. You got to keep it in the center of the ring. Okay, keep it in the center of the ring. You got to use the jab and the feints from the outside. Start trying to back him up. Backing up ain't going to cut it. Okay? He's better on the front foot. Try and put him on the back foot. It's not working, so you got to try something, okay? Good boy.
One thing that you typically associate with Mexican great fighters, body punching. Jaime Munguia, through round 2, has landed 35 total punches, and 14 of them are body shots. So 40% of the punches Munguia is landing so far are body punches.
Very responsible and remembering to go to the body, Jim. You always love to see that.
Those aren't like little inside shots. These are wide, like George Foreman type of body shots.
Sir.
He's really cracking them with the hook to the body.
There's the danger of the rabbit punch again as Munguia was throwing while Cook was turning his head, and now we have the first knockdown of the fight. Comes on a series of punches, including a crunching right hand by Jaime Munguia. 2:22 to go in round 3 as Cook gets up from knockdown number 1, and again looks for space in the ring. And here's the fire of Munguia. He will yell at opponents. He will jump up and down. He shows a lot of emotion when he's in the ring, Roy, and you say it's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. Yeah.
Oh, what a body shot.
Yeah, well,
what a body shot. How do you survive that?
Very difficult. It's going to be a tough.
Tony Weeks is going to stop the fight as an alley assault was taking place, and Jaime Munguia is a wildly violent fighter.
Cook landed a good right hand at the same time Munguia landed his own right hand that essentially started the end of the fight. And after that, Munguia wasn't simply teeing off without a plan. He was throwing vicious, big arcing hooks to the body that was setting up Cook for anything else Munguia wanted to do. That was, as you said, Jim, violent.
He is as graphically violent a fighter as I've seen in the sport in quite a while.
I agree with you, Jim. And being so big and having such a big size disparity on these guys makes a whole lot of difference too. Because this guy, Brandon Cook, was taking a lot of punishment. A guy his size would not have gotten him out of there with that punishment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our last preliminary fight, and Munguia has scored a third-round knockout, and we've got an hour and 20 minutes to go before the main event. And Roy, let's take us through the replays here. Starting with the first knockdown.
Here we see Munguia on the attack, getting him against the ropes again. He actually put himself against the ropes this time. So Munguia started to tee off like his corner told him, don't get against the ropes because that's when he tees off. And you see him throwing overhand rights, left hooks. Got hit with an overhand right with that, came back with a violent left hook right behind the head, and that one hurt Cook pretty badly. Hit him again while he was down, but he didn't mean to. He just was already, the momentum, I think, was already going in that direction. Secondly, he came with a left hook right there, a good straight right hand to the chin. That body shot really caused the second knockdown. I know he got hit with a headshot afterwards, but that body shot was really the end of all of that second action.
Well, I'm not even sure it was a knockdown. I don't know that he ever went down. I think Tony Weeks just had to step in and rescue him.
Yeah, he did.
From the continuous violent assault of Jaime Munguia.
And Brandon Cook showed a big heart because he refused to go down after being hit by all those thunderous shots.
So Munguia gets another knockout win. That is knockout number 26 among his 31 consecutive victories. And let's hear the particulars from Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at the official time. 1 minute, 3 seconds. Round number 3. Referee Tony Weeks stops his bout for your winner by TKO. He is still the undefeated WBO Junior Middleweight Champion of the World de Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, Jaime Munguia.
Well, let's take a look at final CompuBox numbers, which will be one-sided in favor of Jaime Munguia. He lands 30 more punches. He throws 81 more punches. He lands at a not too enormously impressive 29%, but he is not a controlled boxer. He's not gunning for extremely high accuracy at this point. He wants to hurt you with every single punch, and he's pretty good at that. Power shots. He lands 36 out of 93. That's 39%. That percentage will probably creep up as he develops more technical craft as he goes along.
I'll let you know.
Cook got in a couple of good right hands, landing 12 out of 55 overall. But at the end of the day, it's hard to keep your eyes off of Jaime Munguia when he goes on the attack because he is an attacking fighter. And here is Max Kellerman with Jaime Munguia.
Congratulations, Jaime, on a very impressive knockout win. In your previous fight against Liam Smith, you were taking the distance. Tonight you came out, looked like with a better defense, and knocked your man out. Is that more about your development or the opponent you were in with?
Yo pienso que fue parte de mi desarrollo. Yo creo que la pelea pasada yo estuve un poco más desconcentrado. Esta pelea entré más tranquilo, pero pues no hay excusas. Entonces creo que me mostré a mí mismo y le mostré al público que puedo seguir adelante.
I think it was more or less myself and my development. Basically, the last fight I was a little unfocused. I wasn't focused enough for that fight. But for this fight, I was much more on focus, and it's just part of my development. It was more calmer this time around.
As a young fighter, is that because you looked so devastating against now I'm forgetting his Saddam Ali, sorry, Saddam, watched him growing up in the Golden Gloves. Saddam Ali, you were so devastating against him. Did you take things for granted against Liam Smith and then get back on track in this fight?
Creo que sí, yo creo que estaba pensando solo en el knockout, entonces salí buscando solo el knockout, no me concentré en hacer mi trabajo, pero creo que me sirvió de mucho, aprendí muchas cosas y pues aquí están los resultados.
Yes, and I think I was always looking for the knockout and only the knockout, and that was part of the problem. So now I focused a little bit more, and obviously you see the results now.
I do. Nevertheless, you dominated from the very beginning of the fight. Your opponent looked overmatched. What do you learn? What do you get out of a fight like this?
Yo pienso que en cada pelea uno poco a poco se va viendo las cosas que hizo mejor, las cosas que hizo mal. Creo que eso es el aprendizaje, ver los videos de tus peleas, entonces ahí es cuando te das cuenta de todas las cosas que haces bien y mal.
In each fight, you see what you did well, what you didn't do so well, and you watch the videos and you see and you learn from each fight, and that you bring that and you implement it for the next one.
Not long ago, you wanted to fight Gennady Golovkin, and good thing you had people around you who said, wait a minute, you're still developing. Now you have a belt. You've been on HBO 3 times. You're very young and exciting, and you scored a knockout tonight. Triple G is fighting Canelo in the main event, of course. And part of the idea of you and David Lemieux on this card is to expose the audience to potential challengers to the top middleweights. How far away do you think you are from challenging the likes of Triple G or Canelo?
Creo que yo estoy en un proceso, estoy aprendiendo muchas cosas. Tengo 21 años, soy joven, pero claro que si me lo proponen, yo aceptaría la pelea.
It's a process. I'm learning lots of things. I'm still young. I'm 21, but obviously if it comes on the table again, I'll take the fight.
What do you think Robert Alcazar would say about that?
No, pues está muy emocionado. Creo que hemos aprendido muchas cosas. Creo que diría que sí y seguiremos adelante.
He would be very excited. We've learned lots of things. Obviously, I think he would be very excited, and we'll keep on moving forward.
As the fighter, you've shown a willingness to get in there with anyone, with Triple G before anyone knew who you were. What does it feel like to have your promoter, your manager, your trainer say, wait a minute, slow down, you're still developing, when you already want to fight the best?
No, claro que sí, claro que los entiendo. Y como yo lo digo, yo también lo entiendo, pero yo solamente quiero mostrar que puedo seguir aprendiendo. Quiero pelear con los mejores para así demostrar que soy el mejor.
Yes, I know what they're feeling. You know, I feel that way as well, but obviously I want to fight the best to show that I am the best.
Well, we look forward to your progress and watching you each and every time you step into the ring. Thanks a lot, Jaime. Congratulations. Jim?
Thank you very much, Max. Here's the good news. We stressed at the beginning of the pay-per-view that it's our overwhelming desire to get the main event, Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, into the ring by 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We should have no difficulty doing that. If you like looking at us on camera, get ready. So, Roy, we're going to start here by going